What we are going to do right now is to allow to the admin users to perform any kind of action in our RESTful API independently of the user. Currently, we can allow only to the user with ID 1 to obtain its own data. But now what we are going to do is to provide that possibility also for the admin users. That means that an admin user is going to be practically allowed to execute whatever action in our RESTful API without any kind of restriction. Fortunately, Laravel provides us a very good way to achieve that. Let's go to our policies. Let's say whatever of our policies, for example, buyer policy. And to achieve what we need, we just need to create a new method. This method must be called before. Before receives the current authenticated user, and if maybe we want, the ability. The ability is basically if it can view or purchase or sell or whatever ability or action, in fact, that we can obtain depending of our policies. If the before method returns true, Laravel is going to allow the access to the action protected by this policy independently of those methods. Why? Because if before return true, Laravel is not going to execute those methods because it is not required. But the same happens if we return false. If we return false, it is going to automatically deny the access for these specific actions. So we need to be careful if we want to return true or we want to return false. In this case, we want to return true only and only if the user is an administrator. So, if the user is an admin, remember that we have the isAdmin method, we are going to return true. Remember, we cannot just return the value of this because if we return false, it is going to fail. And we want to provide access to the users even if they are not administrators, of course, if they accomplish these other conditions. Remember, if we return null, it means this condition is not accomplished, so Laravel is going to execute these other methods trying to check if provide access or not. We can do basically the same in every one of our policies. But as you may imagine, we don't want to just copy and paste the code directly in every one of our policies. So we have two options. We can use inheritance or we can use a trait. The problem if we use inheritance is that if we don't want that a specific policy check the administrator capabilities, we don't have a way to go excepting to remove the inheritance. But if we have any other methods from the parent class, we will have troubles. But if we use a trait, we will be able to use the trait in only the policies that we need and not in the others without take care about the inheritance or not. So what I'm going to do is just to move this for a new trait. So let's to make a copy of the trait that we already have. And let's to call this admin actions. We don't need nothing of this. We have the method there. We can remove this. And now we have the before method there. And as you may imagine, the next step is just to use this admin actions trait inside of our policies. So we already have the handlers authorization trait, so we just need to add our own trait. Remember to import the definition and we can proceed similarly in our other policies. Please be sure to import the definition of every one of the policies and of course use the trait and we are going to be good. Now to check this, I'm already obtained some personal access tokens for two users, for an admin user and a regular user. In fact, the user that we have been using previously is a regular user. So I'm going to try first with a regular user access token and I'm going to try to obtain, for example, the data about the user with ID 1. The ID of the user is 187, so that cannot be possible. We should have an authorization problem. So let's use this access token. And as expected, we have a 403 response. Now, if we use an administrator access token for the user with ID 317, let's see what happened. There we have access because we are administrators. Just to check, we can, for example, go to a user policy, that is the policy that we are currently using for this action, and remove the usage, temporarily of course, of the admin actions. And if we try again, we can see how we cannot perform this action with the 403 code. Again, if we reestablish the admin actions, because the user is an admin, we'll have free access for this. Basically, at this point, the administrator users can execute whatever actions that they need, independently if they are the user indicated on the URL or not. Let's see in the next class how to provide access for some specific actions only for the admin users. See you there.